we'll turn it over to Jesse.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. We certainly appreciate the invite up to Pike County. As Chris said, I'm from Neighborhood Housing Services of Lackawanna County, and we're based in Scranton. And we've been dealing with foreclosure as a major part of our business for about 9 months now. And basically, we've been seeing many, many more people who've been facing this issue in their own lives and with their own mortgages. And we certainly saw that there was a need, and so partnered with Catholic Social Services and some legal expertise from North Penn Legal Services to try to put together some kind of program that we can go out and talk to people in the community about, to at least give some more information, get more information out into the community about foreclosure, how it works, what you can do if you're facing this crisis, and also looking at the issue from a kind of a big picture, how it affects a community. And that's important too. It doesn't always feel like that's as important when you're the one dealing with the issue directly, but we know that as we go out and talk to people, it's very important to let everyone know how a foreclosure affects the neighborhood, the larger community or region, because if people understand that, then they can tell their neighbors about what type of action can be taken to help them to help them deal with this issue in a way that'll help the whole community. And so really that's what the kind of message that we're trying to get out as we go out all across northeastern Pennsylvania and talk about foreclosures. NHS of Lackawanna County, just very quickly, the reason why we're doing this is because we focus on trying to create and preserve financial security for families all through northeastern Pennsylvania, and we do that through focusing on home ownership as a means to do that. And so for over 25 years we've been doing that type of work, working with families directly, trying to counsel them, help them get into a home of their own. And as I just mentioned, right now the issue isn't as much people getting into their first homes or how to get into a home, it's how to stay in one. And so that's really why we're out doing this type of work. We're out trying to help people maintain home ownership or preserve their home ownership. And we're doing that again, and with help from our partners from all across Northeast PA. As I mentioned right when we started, it is important to understand some background on the foreclosure issue as it pertains to the big picture. How do we get here as a country? How do we get here in the economy? How did lenders and homeowners, how do we all kind of get into this situation? We're going to spend a few minutes on this, and I hope you don't mind, before we work into some of the specific issues that are facing homeowners who are in default of their mortgages, or how we can work our way out of this. So we're going to spend just a few minutes talking about the big picture when it comes to foreclosure. So how did we get here? The easiest way to explain it, and this is very simplified because the talking heads on CNN and Fox News and everybody else, they spend hours talking about this every single day. So we're just going to talk really briefly about how we all got here and maybe how some of you ended up in this situation specifically. It's been said that the housing industry leads the economy. Okay, so if the housing industry, if the real estate market's doing well, if houses are being bought and sold and built, then the economy's generally doing pretty well. And that was really happening in the late 90s, early part of this decade. Things were going really well. A lot of people were buying their first homes that couldn't have done it before, and the industry was just doing well. The government saw that. They like the economy to do well, obviously, as we all do, and they noticed that the housing was a big part of that. And little by little, the federal government started to kind of relax some standards in terms of who could get a mortgage and what kind of mortgages could be sold. It kind of relaxed some things. And it made more people be able to get homes, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But some of the things that happened as a result of that relaxing of standards were bad things. So it kind of started with the government saying, we want to continue the good times in terms of the economy, even though the housing market was really stretched out to a point where maybe it shouldn't have been stretched out any further. And we're finding that's definitely the case. We can continue to stretch some guidelines, enabling lenders to make some loans that they probably shouldn't have. So some of the lenders, not all of them by any means, there's a lot of very good lenders out there, a lot of lenders that have the customer's best interest in mind. But it should be noted, and some of you probably had this experience, there's a lot of lenders who didn't have your best interest in mind when they gave you that loan. They were worried about closing that loan, putting the money in their pocket, and not really worrying what was going to happen to you 2 years or 3 years or 5 years down the line. And so, that's what we're seeing every single day, situations like that, people walking into our office saying, I never really should have had this loan. They're realizing that now, but they didn't realize it when they got it. And so lenders were really saying, okay, some lenders were saying, let's get these loans out the door. It's working for everybody. People are getting their homes. We're lining our pockets. We're making money off this. So we're going to continue this type of lending. Wall Street, all those mortgages had to go somewhere so that the money could go back in the system, so more money could be lent out. So all the mortgages, many of the mortgages that were sold, a lot of them weren't good mortgages. They were sold to Wall Street. Wall Street kind of packaged them up and cleaned them up and said, oh, these are great investments. And so investors flocked to them and bought them. And what that did is all the money they used to purchase those loans went back to the lenders. It was more capital to lend out and kind of make more bad loans in a sense. So it was just a cycle that was revolving and churning for a couple of years. And borrowers, we can't take borrowers off the hook on this. Many people took loans that they could not repay in any kind of realistic way. Maybe they took it because somebody told them, that in 2 years you're going to be able to refinance. Don't worry about it. It's a stretch now, but the housing market's just going to continue to go up, and you'll be able to refinance in a couple of years. You'll be fine. Well, if we really look at it, if we look back, certainly hindsight's 20/20, but if we really look at it back at that time when those papers were signed, most people do admit to having a gut check about that loan, and they said, well, I just really probably could never have really afforded this, and it wasn't a good decision. So people were taking loans that they couldn't have afforded. So all of those things, there's blame to go around everywhere in this, trust me. It goes with the federal government, with the lenders, with Wall Street for packaging and kind of continuing this process. And some borrowers are certainly innocent and they were taken. Some borrowers, were more in a position where they said, I'm going to take something that I don't know if I can pay back. But really now, we're seeing more and more people who, they just lost a job. They just have some kind of financial hardship. Somebody in their family got sick that they had to take care of. They didn't have health insurance. And that's the reason why they're behind. But in terms of the big picture, when you're talking about mortgage meltdown and economic crisis and all those things, this is why we're here. And unfortunately, it affects every single one of us.